Hello. A message for the Starseeds before this main video. Going to take your card quickly. Oh, perfect. Here we are. Starseeds, you're not alone. The words are isolation, physical connection, and community. Starseeds, you're not alone. Remember why you came. Remember your source is light. Remember your heart is love. Remember you are divine. And remember you are not alone. As it says here, you're not alone. You are light, you are love, you are divine. Light, love, divine. Sat Chitanand. Sat, truth, consciousness. Chit, Anand, bliss, joy. Anand, Anand, Anand. That's what you are. That's what you are. Okay, enjoy the video. Hi guys, so this video is for the Starseeds, the light workers, the aware and awake, as I think Magenta Pixie would said, the aware and awake. Those people who have been navigating this whole year with a different perspective to many, who've been aware of the darkness at play and all the sludge and the horrors that have been playing out behind the scenes. This is for you. These are for you people. I know that a lot of people who, well, not a lot, because I don't get a lot of people watching me, to be honest. But I know that those of you who are, my students who will probably watch this, you may not quite fall into this camp. Not that you are not a light worker, but you may not be seeing things in the same way that I know many of us are, and that's fine. You may still get something. You may well still get something from this. So really, what I want to say is that whilst many people have been getting really excited about this roadmap, or as I like to call it, the road crap, many of us, and I know because I'm very lucky to have fellow soul tribes who are on the same sort of page. Many of us have been feeling very concerned and sad, really. And I know that for the last few weeks, many of us have struggled. Now, these are the same people, I would say, who have really tried to hold the vibration and the light high throughout this time. And have done a really good job of staying above it, even when I've had moments of, real, again, sadness at some of the things that you learn over this whole process. So it's not that hasn't been happening for many of us, but we do know it, and we will run it through our systems. We will, emotionally react to it, but try not to get too embroiled in it. On the path that many of us have been treading, we have to be extremely careful that we don't kind of get into the same or fall into the same traps as those who are stuck in fear of what we see as the story, which is the, the lurgy. Okay, so we have to be careful that we don't fall into those same traps, which is essentially an energy. So there's an energy of fear, those who are scared to go out because they've believed everything that the media has told them, and that, I don't know, other people might have told them, or what they've read, and they're absolutely sort of frozen in fear. And then you've got others, and of which many of the starseeds, light workers, way showers, may well also be teetering on, and that is the fear or depression or heaviness of some of the reality of what is below the surface. And that can also manifest in this basically low vibration energy, low frequency. So in a way, it doesn't really matter what you believe, but if the energy of that belief is heavy and dense, fearful, depressing, it's going to pull you right down. Okay? So as a humanity, probably every single one of us has been in that at some point. And you may well have been exchanging that from time to time, that heavy, dense frequency with a very, I always use that sound, don't I? Frequency, which is that of when the nervous system kicks in. So many people will have been oscillating between that kind of and then that, so whenever there's a new announcement or a new situation, or go into your nervous system, your fight or flight system. So although this is directed at those people who have been truth seeking, and who see things in a certain way. And at the moment, but, I'll finish that thought, but it equally, in terms of the energy, applies to everybody else as well. All right? So what we have had to deal with, those of us who are looking from this perspective, and the perspective we are looking from is, we are looking to awaken. Many of us are awake to degrees. There are degrees, and it's ever evolving. Many of us are awake to degrees, and we want to continue that trajectory, and we are aware that the earth herself is going through that too. We're all going through it. So we want that to continue, and we also understand that in order for that to continue, that the sifting of everything that is needs to continue. And so that which is of the dark needs to come up to the light. And at the moment on this planet, and has been for a long time, the light that is pouring down on this planet is huge. So when you are going to bed at night and you can't sleep, and many people are really struggling with sleeping at the moment, really, really struggling, partly I think because of the processing of all the information that we're having to deal with. But also there is a huge amount of light. So at night when you actually stop, or your body stops and it lies down, you may well be aware, no matter whether you are consciously doing this or not, of your body starting to vibrate, of your dreams being epic. I know in my house, on certain days it seems everybody in the house is, sleepwalking, sleep talking, getting into each other's beds. Not as exciting as it sounds. So there is this. This is happening anyway. And so there are those of us who are actively involved in this. Those of us who understand that our purpose for being here at this time on this planet is to help with this process. So we understand that this darkness and dirt and dirge has to come up to be seen, to be witnessed, to then transform into that which is light. We understand that. However, it doesn't mean that it's easy. And this is what I want to speak to. It doesn't mean it's easy. And especially as what I call the kind of tightening, and this isn't just restrictions, is it? But for some of us, even what is purported to be the way out of here, for some of us, that feels like more of a screw in. It feels more of a restriction, more of a tightening. Because we in our systems and our bodies do not feel that to be the truth. Well, it's not our truth. It's not our truth. It may be somebody else's truth, but it's not our truth. And so we have probably been experiencing some sadness around that. There are many of us as well who are experiencing, a kind of shock and horror, a real kind of speechlessness. You see, I just went into speechlessness because we cannot fathom why, for instance, you would make your children undergo an intrusive and invasive test 2 or 3 times a week. We don't understand why you would do that, because those of us who were on this trajectory do not see the story, and I'm talking a little bit in code here, the story as being nearly as harmful as many others believe it to be. And yet again, we come back to the story being, 99% recoverable, and something like 80% of people are over 80 of pre-existing conditions who do know those, the fatalities are those people. Okay, so we keep coming back to that. So in which case, why would you want to test? And why would you want to mask your children's faces when there is no proof? There is no proof that this is helpful. And we, as yogis and light workers, the breath for us is so important, because we understand that to be our life force. And for us, our life force, we need to get the full, we need to breathe freely and fully, because we need our immune systems to be on top of things, because we know that God gave us immune systems to fight these diseases and these illnesses. We want to take responsibility for our health. And contrary to what the narrative is being played out, we don't want to be a burden. So the story, again, that's being played out is that those of us who are taking this perspective, and if we are refusing to do those things like wearing masks, getting tested, getting the old doodah in the arm, that we are being selfish, that you're being selfish for not doing that. Now we say, no. And you're selfish, sorry, let me finish that. You're selfish because if you then get ill, the story is you're going to be a burden on our health system. But we say, no, that's not the way we see it. That's not our perspective. Our perspective is that as sovereign, breathing, living human beings, we have an immune system. We take care of our bodies. Okay, not all the time. You can definitely, I don't all the time, but largely I do. Yeah? So we believe this immune system, we need to look after this immune system, so that if we come across or come into contact with any of these, lurgies, then we might get it, but we'll be able to fight it off quickly. No problem. This is life. This is what happens in life. We live and we die. This is the vibration, the third dimension. This is what happens on this planet. We live and we die, and hopefully we live to a nice long age, but sometimes we don't. I lost both of my parents a little bit too early for my liking, but I understood that this is life. This is life. So we come back to a sort of yogic perspective about attachment. And as human beings, we attach so heavily onto things. We are attaching so heavily onto this notion of health, but perhaps we're forgetting that we are responsible for our health. The state is not going to save us. And so from our perspective, we say, no, I'd rather do it myself, thank you very much. And if anything, we feel that, you know, you can turn it around. If someone is pointing towards us and saying, you're being selfish, you are being selfish, and, you know, we're not going to be able to get out of lockdown because of you, well, we feel like, well, actually, it's the other way around to some extent. Because if you comply to what we see as totally unnecessary measures, if you comply to that and allow the government to take our freedoms away one by one by one by one, at some point you're going to realise you can't do anything anymore. Your freedoms have gone. And in the meantime, your children are addicted to a screen because they've been locked down so long, forced to do all their work online. Their minds won't be working properly, their eyesight's going to be shot. Anyway, I didn't really want to get into that bit, but I'm aware that, you know, in a way it's a bit of pushback, because many of us have spoken out. And then because the Starseed, light worker, way shower, sensitive type is sensitive, doesn't want to hurt anybody, doesn't want to upset anybody, but at the same time knows that the big picture is that we need to remember our sovereignty. Why are you throwing your body away? Why are you giving your body away to somebody else? By accepting they can do what they want to. It's kind of abuse as far as I can see it. But anyway, coming back to you guys who are here, yeah, stay strong. We are going through it at the minute, but we will get through it. Hold the light. Feel the dark, let it go through you, process it, feel it, but then come back to the light. And we've just got to remember to do the things we love to do, to connect with the people who are feeling and thinking in the same way, to try and keep our hearts open to everybody, because if we give in too much to the division, and I have just spoken, if you like, to the division, but if we allow that to get the better of us, then we're not going to come back together. And we want, as a human family, us all to be together. And at the bottom line, again, when you strip all the story away, you come back to the frequency and the energy. And the frequency of the energy is that in my heart, I truly believe that 95% of human beings are good, got good hearts, want the best for each other. And yes, they may be, you know, that there may have been problems and difficulties in their lives, which means that sometimes they're a bit selfish or a bit aggressive, but we've all got that. We're all like that to a degree. So yes, there's all that, but that's just what that is. But on a basic level, we have empathy and love at our core. And then you've got maybe a few percent that don't. But we are much more than that. Together, we are much more than that. So let's come together. Let's come together. And in the meantime, before we regroup, and I do feel in my gut that this division is, you know, it's playing out, and it probably will for a little while yet. So before that, starseeds, way showers, lights, bright lights, stay on top of it and you know, do your practice, get strong. And it's not just about the meditation, it's about the body. Keep your body strong. do your exercise, your fitness. You know, please join us for our yoga if you want to. If you don't, you know, if you don't have anything that you're doing and you want to do something, please do. Get strong, because when you're strong physically, it helps get you strong mentally and emotionally. And the other thing is to be as present as you can be in the moment. As present as you can be in the moment. Just really 100% with whatever you're doing. Because then that stops you as well, sort of panicking and worrying and distressing. Just becoming present, becoming present, becoming present. And sending healing, sending healing, sending healing to yourself and to others, to yourself and to others. Sat, Chit, Anand. Sat, truth, Chit, consciousness, Anand. Joy and bliss. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rama Rama. Om Namah Shivaya, Bolo! Think of the beautiful goddess. You are the goddess. You are the Godhead. You are Shiva, Shiva, and you are Shakti, Shakti, the beautiful goddess. Remember who you are.